Hello, everyone, on umbraCoffee, June's episode, straight after the live episode, not that far away in time.
Second June
Everyone, second June episode. That was not often. Probably last June as well. But yeah, for all of those who missed the Code Garden, missed the live episode last week, it's a good chance to jump back, reflect. Remind some of the highlights or the good memories from the last events, or look for the new energy that might get lost somewhere in the meantime, because as this Post-Codegarden Blues is a thing, guys, right? And thanks for joining us today. And maybe you can already walk through us your blues experience after this year's Codegarden, guys, and just introduce yourself as well for the people who might not know you. Who wants to start?
I don't mind.
Yeah, so, go, Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt. Work at HQ, predominantly on Umbraco Commerce, and I just had the best night's sleep when I got home from Codegarden. Like, I fell asleep instantly. I didn't realize how tired I was. So, yeah, I think I'm still pretty tired. But yeah, just trying to get back into routines, try and do the things I used to do before Codegarden. Always hard.
Yeah, it takes a while to adapt then.
Yeah.
What about you, Georgina?
Yeah, so I'm Georgina. I'm a developer at a company based in Bristol, and this is my second Codegarden. And I actually think I didn't actually get a good night's sleep until about last night. I don't know why. It's taken me ages to like kind of get back into it. Been so tired this week, so I think today is like the first day of like, okay, I actually feel like good now. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Ronald, also working at HQ on the commercial products, mainly focusing on forms and deploy. And yeah, during Codegarden, I woke up before all my alarms, so I didn't get any sleep. Besides, having really long days and really short nights. So still catching up this week. Yep.
And Callum, we've been just discussing your numbers of hours slept.
Yeah.
How is it for you?
Yeah, fine. This week's been a mixture of jet lag, no sleep for work reasons, no sleep because we had a power cut, just everything. Everything that could have gone wrong this week went wrong. But no, I'm very good. I'm very good.
Yeah, I think it's same for everyone. I also went back home on Sunday, and it's like we didn't realize, and it's Friday already. So it's this is already a support group for everyone who might feel the same. It's normal, right? It's under control. That's probably social activities are just taking so much energy, and especially on the events like this, I think where it's literally a little bit different. I would say where you are not just going to see some talks and then go back home with notes, but there's also a lot of things that might kind of drag your energy from discussions to activities to basically everything around the event. So let's start.
For many of us here, I think definitely George and Matt were involved in the MVP summit directly before Codegarden, and Marcin, you went to the Novicel camp directly after Codegarden, and that becomes like it's no longer a three-day event, maybe with a pre-party. It was Sunday through to Saturday for me. It was quite a long and intense week. I guess same for you. A lot of conversations go on in that time.
Yeah, it was interesting to arrive on Wednesday and see people already being tired as hell. that was interesting, but that was a fresh wave of energy for some. But at the same time, yeah, that's quite long. And already some people shared some feedback that it might be really good to divide it somehow, because being, it's hard to say productive, but generally operational through the whole week with that much energy needs might be just tough, right? And it's normal. And I think we might just improve this somehow and see how this energy might be divided next year. So I would love to join the MVP Summit as well, but it would be 1.5 weeks almost for me of energy. And yeah, but that was interesting. what about your highlights then? I will be skimming through some of the materials, and of course, for all of those who were here and are watching us or will be watching us, if you will have some materials, your new blog post, we'll try to update some of them in the agenda. And also, I'm sure that Matt, your amazing UMB FYI newsletter will also gather a lot of them and try to gather it from the web whenever it will be posted. So keep an eye on that. But what about your highlights? What about your thoughts after the event? And what would be the, let's say, one thing that each of you would definitely remember from the event? Or if anyone, I will ask you, what was the one thing that you just remember from this year's Codegarden, what it would be? Hard question.
Yeah, I can think of one. Then I was in the front row of Niels Lungslow's talk about the new back office. And I don't want to spoil the whole presentation, but there's a real mind-blown part, I think, after a couple of minutes in, which I think, does really illustrate the ways you can extend the back office and like all the crazy things you can do inside of it now as well. So it was a nicely presented, but also like really insightful and I think useful for a lot of people.
Yeah, so new back office then excites you the most. What about you, Matt?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is probably all the feedback that I got on my talk, but we can talk about that a little bit later. But there were some really good talks that I really enjoyed as well. So clearly all the AI stuff, like AI was a big thing this Codegarden, so all those talks were good. Loved seeing the stuff that Matt and Phil had been working on. I'd seen little snippets of it on LinkedIn, so to get the background on it's been really interesting. But I also liked the talk by David Whitney on open source exploitation, which I found really interesting as somebody that previously was like trying to be a package developer and trying to make a career out of kind of open source inside Umbraco. There's a lot of things that he was talking about that was stuff that like I'd felt when I was kind of doing that stuff. So it's interesting to see his thoughts on that. And I had a chat with him afterwards just to see like what could we do within the Umbraco space to try and help kind of support package developer type stuff. So yeah, I'll take that, speak to HQ about it and see what we can do. But there's just some interesting stuff that I thought was quite good.
And Georgia, what about you?
I would say I don't know, there's so many highlights, it's hard to choose one, but I actually really enjoyed, I'd made a conscious effort to go on Friday this year, and I really enjoyed Summaries' talk, which was called, it's about failure, and I think it's called like, I failed, now what? And it was really interesting dynamic where she sort of broke us off into little groups where we sort of talked about our own experience of failure and like how the way they're like interpreted can be like a good thing or a bad thing within company and how you progress. And that was really interesting. And one thing I also thought was quite strange when you're stood on stage is watching everyone sat in the crowd with headphones on, like everyone with glowing headphones, like just staring at you, looked very odd, but I totally get why they did it. But yeah, it kind of felt like no one was listening to you, but you knew they were. But yeah, so yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was a new concept, right? And I did hear also the same feedback from the speakers that they were afraid how they will perform if they feel like the people are wearing headphones and headsets all the time.
Yeah.
As a speaker, I've been in that position, speaking to a room with people with headsets on, and first and foremost, you can hear everything, like a pin drop in the back of the room. So someone rustling for something in their bag or having a conversation to their colleague, you as a speaker, that's incredibly distracting because it's right there. But I've also done it where I was on a stage directly next to someone else on a stage doing the same thing, speaking to a room full of people with headphones, and well, you can hear them doing their talk, which is just really confusing and like off-putting. Having someone right next to you doing a completely different talk on a completely different topic. It wasn't quite like that at Codegarden.
Like being on silent disco without the headset, right?
It was like, I guess, like being the DJ. Like, it doesn't sound like anyone's actually listening to you. But yeah, I was the same. Like when I was on stage, I could hear everyone talking at the back, so I had to like try and zone that out and focus on what I was doing. But yeah, I got used to it.
Yeah, I think they did amplify the speaker a little bit. So in the front, you didn't necessarily need to have the headphones. But so that I think is better than the thing that Callum also mentioned. I think it was Dugfest last year, yeah, where 5 or 6 sessions were done in the same room at the same time. But in general at Codegarden, it was really quiet back in the social area as well, because there's no like speaker being amplified and filling the rest of the room. So
I was going to say that it was kind of done for a purpose, and I think that it did the job for this particular social needs of this room, and all of those social areas and spaces, and generally the event locations. Maybe one thing to be mentioned is like that was the last one also there, right? So that's something what can't be easily fixed or tweaked within the same space anymore. So that might be a good feedback for the event organizers there. But I do also agree there is so much of the good things to highlight. So many great and different aspects were great, and a lot of people said that it was really the best Codegarden so far for them, and that's definitely a high bar to keep. We mentioned that to the organizers, even from the live umbraCoffee, that as speakers or people who are being a little bit involved behind the scenes, we haven't seen the stress, we haven't seen the failures that much, and they seemed so relaxed. Everything went so smoothly, and it was just all about really getting the most joy out of it for everyone who was attending, and the feedback so far just proves that it was accomplished, which is awesome. And I have some blog posts gathered from people, as I've mentioned, so we can just skim through some of them.
I don't know how people have the energy coming back out of Codegarden to write a blog post like this. Yeah,
maybe they're writing even during the Codegarden. That's some pro tips that I've heard, that you are just drafting or having some Google Doc opened with some paragraphs there. But yeah, Paul Seal summarized it with a really nice set of pictures here with everything what happened, and a lot of videos from Paul. Uskin team also summarized the Codegarden from their perspectives. Also started with the MVP summit and all the Codegarden energy. Jeroen already highlighted it. He is amazing. He's doing it every year, and every year just straight after the event. And also great summary with some of the good highlights from the talks that I missed, unfortunately. But all of them are in the applications already, right? So we can hopefully rewatch some of them at some point when we will get energy back. But the winner of documentation of the event is Owen this year. He won with the amount of pictures that he shared. Definitely, I must say that's like another Flickr gallery from the event. And of course, Owen was also attending the event from straight of the beginning to till the end. And yeah, it's a great recap of everything what has happened there with some videos as well. And Matt, you've mentioned your blog post, and maybe we can talk about it for a little while, because you summarized it from a little bit different perspective and various perspectives as well, touching on some of your recent explorations around neurodiversity and topics around that. Can you quickly summarize it as well and tell us how you wrote it, how you summarized the event as well from your perspective?
Well, the blog post really is more kind of just background on what I've been going through lately in terms of figuring out my own neurodivergence. So initially starting with introversion and then just not finding like answers to specific like ways of working and figuring things out. So I read one article that suggested that kind of introversion is like the undiagnosed end of autism, which I'm not saying that's particularly right, but it did lead me into kind of that space and for me to kind of question other areas and think about different things. So yeah, just started exploring that and figuring out a whole bunch of stuff, and just seeing myself in other situations. So took a lot of reading, took a lot of learning, but yeah, then just trying to kind of find space and community in it. So like last Code Cabin, I proposed a talk on neurodiversity, and that was a really popular topic, got a lot of kind of input. I've kind of in the meantime joined some other like non-umbraco-y support groups, and when I think just speaking with people is generally when I've learned the most, rather than necessarily kind of, yes, you read a lot of books and watch a lot of videos, but they're all very generalized because they've got to try and kind of meet or match as many people as possible. Whereas when you're in support groups, you're hearing the nuance in people's own kind of experience. So yeah, and then just learning all of that, and then Codegarden for me was an opportunity to kind of own my own diagnosis, but then also I am trying to, it's a fairly recent diagnosis for me, so only kind of last year that I got a confirmed diagnosis. Obviously I'd been thinking about and researching a heck of a long time before that, but finally got my diagnosis last year. But yeah, so I'm in a space personally where I'm trying to figure some things out, and especially at work and figuring out how to manage things the way that my brain kind of works. And so my talk at Codegarden was really my exploration into the types of things, accommodations or adjustments that workplaces can make to make it more accommodating. I'm not saying I need them or need them all, but they're all things that I'm looking at and exploring as to whether they would help. And so I just thought it would be quite interesting, quite useful to kind of propose that at Codegarden. It was meant to be just an MVP summit talk, so they had one talk there, but then there's a couple of people that dropped out, unfortunately, for different reasons. So a couple of slots came available at Codegarden, so jumped in to do it there as well, which was a little bit stressful, but given the support that I got from the MVP, like all the great feedback that I got from the MVPs was just like, I wasn't expecting that much kind of comeback from it. And so that kind of encouraged me then to do the same talk again at Codegarden. And again, just the amount of feedback that I got from that was kind of incredible. So yeah, when I got back, I'd actually already prepped that blog post. So Callum, I didn't have the energy to write it.
That's the pro tip. That's the pro tip.
Yeah, I was thinking about releasing that blog post for a while, so that's been sat there for a while. But I did update it after Codegarden with some bits from that. But yeah, I mean, the thing on that blog post, probably the big thing that I want to kind of promote, sort of thing, is, like I say, the things that I've learned the most from have always been from kind of talking with other people. So I'm kind of interested in whether there would be interest in the Umbraco community to create like a neurodiversity support group. It'll be a virtual thing using the Umbraco virtual meetup account. But yeah, I've set up a form at the moment just to see if anybody's actually interested and would want to kind of do that. So yeah, if people are interested, fill that in, and I'll see if there's enough interest to kind of warrant putting that together. But like I say, I've learned a lot from it, and it'd be really cool. And I think we know that Umbraco community is the friendliest, and like I say, the amount of feedback that I've got clearly shows that other people are in a similar space. So I just think it'd be an interesting experiment, if nothing else, just to see if like we can have a different kind of support, not just talking about tech all the time.
As I mentioned to you on the LinkedIn comment as well, I'm going through the same process at the moment to diagnose the ADHD, and of course, outside of tech events, I was going to some of the other conferences, and also on the tech events, I've noticed how popular these topics became this recently, and also on this year's Codegarden, even completely outside of your talk and this area, I had similar conversations with a couple other community members who were also either diagnosed or self-diagnosed, or they're going through various observations, basically. And on the other podcast and with other friends, I discussed that how it helped them to understand them better. So it's like it's all about kind of installing the patch on your operating system, because you know some of the bugs basically, and then you find workarounds, right? So that's
well, if you watch my talk, if you haven't already, I liken it to running different operating systems. So I liken neurodivergence with Linux, with all the different distributions, and then I liken masking with running in emulation, or running software in emulation. So trying to keep it tech focused.
Yeah, that's
I love that
easier to understand. Easier to understand for some, right?
Yeah, but I do think tech is like just such a magnet for neurodivergent folk. Like just how, to me, coding is a special interest. Like I can just spend hours kind of stuck and get really deep into challenges. You can often be working remotely, you can work from home. Like I think there's so many aspects of tech that are just such a big draw for neurodivergent folk that it's not surprising that so many people kind of also relate to it so heavily.
Yeah, might be also a sad legacy of COVID era a little bit.
Yeah,
too, because there is a lot of awareness at the moment, and a lot of kind of side effects of all those crazy times, I believe, and that's a topic to discuss. And again, we are changing eras, so why not to go into more aware era of how we operate and how our operating systems work, right? So that's awesome. And yeah, we will of course share the link as well in our description. So if anyone wants to join or generally is interested in this support group, please leave your email and name and information with Matt, and we will definitely follow up on this process. And yeah, for all of those who missed the talk or wants to catch up on the talk, it will be released from what we said, right, on public YouTube or some other channels at some point, right?
Yeah, it will. So definitely watch that.
And I think it's also important to mention that it's also for people running a business or having close ones, colleagues or partners, to just understand them better. Probably is interesting to just have a group to chat with and exchange external ideas as well, not only the things that people are working through internally as well.
That's also why I think the concept of masterminds was something what I truly liked at some point. It was like completely detached group of people who are not spending time together every day or at work or at home or wherever, just exchanging the thoughts without judging each other. And I'm doing this with two of my friends for 8 years already, once per month. And that's like a mirror, maybe not a mirror, generally the place where we just can talk to each other without feeling wrong with basically exchanging the stupid or less stupid ideas or thoughts. So yeah, I think any kind of group where we are a part of cult, so why we should be afraid of groups, right? So
I've got a sticker that says that now. It's not a cult.
Yeah, it's not a cult. Yeah, but that's awesome. Let's keep an eye on that, and we'll see where it will land, and definitely we'll follow up. Maybe a separate session or walkthrough or some of those discussions at some point on various YouTube channels, and let's see how it will go. Ronald, we know that you need to run away soon.
Almost, I have a community package team meetup to join shortly, but
then to let you join and safely lead it through. Maybe we can use your input then at this stage about everything product related from the HQ perspective. You've been busy not only at Codegarden but generally before Codegarden. I do believe that you're also getting back on track now already. So what happened? What caught your attention the most recently, and what updates were you working on the most recently?
So of course the V16 launch was a big one, the Thursday before Codegarden. And we actually managed to get forms deploy, the forms deploy integrations, deploy contrib, storage providers, commerce, I believe workflow as well, all released, or UI build even, all released on the same day. And I think even within almost an hour after the CMS released their package to NuGet. So it was, I think, quite a feat, and yeah, just making sure everything works together is becoming a bigger and bigger task as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of products now to take care of, and there'll be even more from what you have learned from the Codegarden. But also what you've mentioned prior to umbraCoffee was also some work around the licensing models. That was also the topic of various discussions at Codegarden, because obviously the licensing is going to be more unified, I would say, across the product lines. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Forms is currently the only one that still relies on the or more or less legacy licensing system that use the lick files. And yeah, Forms currently is a single one-time purchase, and that's going to change in Forms 17. And then there will only be the product keys with a subscription-based model, and that's something where we will also add to version 13 and 16, so that we'll have kind of a dual license system set up, so you can keep using your existing one-time purchase license file. But if you're planning to upgrade to 17 within a few months, you can already purchase a license key, use that for your 13 or 16 website, and then don't have to go through all the hassle to migrate that license, convert it into a license key that will only be valid on 17.
So, and deploy and stuff like that. So that was something what Callum you've mentioned at some point, and you dreamed about, right? Across the products and packages as well.
Perhaps not. Perhaps I wasn't dreaming about annual licensing. It's not terrible. I spoke with Arnold last week, and it does make sense. It works. And finally, it is some consistency. We no longer have products with a perpetual license in the Umbraco ecosystem. So
it's similar to open source projects being hard to maintain if there's no funding coming in on a regular basis. It's essentially the same with Forms. We have quite a lot of support requests. The issue tracker in Forms is, I believe, also one of the biggest with open issues. So we also just want to have more support, more development resources going into the product in the future as well. Yeah, and that's just not possible if everyone just buys a single license and can use that for a project forever. So I think that's the business side, and pricing wise, it won't be a major subscription cost. So I think that's reasonable on that regard as well. And it's still, if you're on cloud, it's still included as part of your plan. So I mean, that's no changes if you're on cloud, at least.
Unifications are always good, and we've been discussing this by the end of year of how many models of subscriptions or pricing were around various products. So the simpler it gets, the better, whatever route it takes, as soon as it's predictable also for one your side of the business, and second the other side of business too, then it makes all sense, and I think it's good. So yeah, definitely you can get back to being busy and keeps the teams already working on new updates and new products. Because again,
speaking of busy, Ronald's going to get in trouble with Lottie if he doesn't leave in now. So.
Yes.
So no pressure, but no. Thanks, Ronald, for joining us, and enjoy the meeting then, and see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, one of the things I'll be doing is also updating all the product logos. So if people did pay close attention at the keynote at Codegarden, then you've probably already seen the new logos as well. Those will be coming to the Forms, Deploy, and Workflow products in an updated version as well.
Can we share them? You can share them, right? They were shared already.
They were already public at the keynote.
I have a file downloaded. Probably I can show it. Yeah. So these are the ones. So unified logos as well. That's
not only licensing. Yeah.
Awesome. Looks good. Cool. Thanks, Ronald, for the updates then. And as I said,
Thanks.
enjoy the rest of your day then, if you need to jump off.
Yeah, I'll jump off and have a nice day. See you later.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, a lot of unifications then, a lot of updates like this. But maybe you can then talk about some awards and pricings from not pricings, prizes being awarded on Codegarden, starting from MVPs. And Georgina, you said that you were also awarded. Is it your second MVP as well?
Second MVP, second Codegarden, second time speaking at Codegarden. Yeah.
Second bash as well on the lanyard as well now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And how did you find the keynote, the ceremony, the new MVPs? Did you have a chance to talk with some of these?
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. Like I enjoyed the keynotes actually this year. I mean, I enjoyed them last year, but I think last year as well, I was watching them also being very nervous about the fact I was about to go on stage. Yeah, I thought they were great, and it was great to see all of the new MVPs go up on stage, and it's also nice to like see all of the renewed MVPs' names, and just that list seems to be getting longer and longer, which is great. I really enjoyed the keynotes this year.
Yeah. And Matt, you are no longer you do not have more potential to reach out more MVPs, unfortunately. How many of them you've ended up with? Do you remember that?
I don't know. Can't keep count.
Yeah, because that was quite a couple
when it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, again, that was a couple of discussions at Codegarden. Okay, how many of those pins each people have? Probably Dave has 10 or something.
I think the longest standing MVPs had 13, and it was 13. It was Jan Skovgaard and Jevon. So I think they are the most decorated MVPs right now.
It will be hard walking next years with those lanyards.
I'll be honest, after walking around with a floppy disk and pins for a week, I was feeling like a little bit, dragged down.
Okay, but besides MVPs, we had also Umbraco Awards ceremony. We had great hosts of Umbraco Awards joining us on stage from Codegarden. So we summarized it a little bit, but for all of those who are interested in who was awarded for what, there's also a nice blog post summarizing it all with all the nominations and winners, of course, with the links to some projects. And I think it was, again, nicely put together, the whole ceremony, and the show is getting better with every year. Better envelopes, better everything. So that's really good to see. And yeah, that's the Codegarden wrap up, I think. Is there anything else? What do you like to cover and highlight more from the event's perspective?
I think the fact that it was the first time they had the MVP summit was pretty cool as well. That seemed to go really well. And I think having a place where MVPs can kind of meet each other prior to Codegarden was pretty good, because it made sure that when you got to Codegarden, if it was your first time, then you've got an inbuilt group of people that you can automatically kind of speak to and hang around with. But yeah, definitely Codegarden vibes, but I think it worked really well as well.
It was like a hybrid of Codegarden, of some of the retreats of old, and the open space from Fridays as well, and it was a good icebreaker. I think people came into the Tuesday and the Wednesday actually energized, ready to talk about stuff.
Yeah, I really liked it as well, because I think it was a good way. Like, I know there's been conversation like, oh, should it have been in the same weeks? It's tiring. And I agree, it was tiring. But I also think it was a good way to like ease in. And, a good way to get settled and have all of those like initial conversations you have with people on like the first day of Codegarden. So you kind of like, when you actually go to Codegarden, all of that sort of like, not completely done, because obviously there's loads of people that Codegarden wasn't at the MVP summit, But yeah, I think it was quite nice, and there were some really interesting conversations that came out of the MVP summit too, and hopefully some that's going to like keep going, and shows that it's worth doing the MVP summit. Yeah. It's good for the first one as well.
Yeah, for me, to remind that the same what Callum said, the kind of retreat vibes, because for me, who came there on Wednesday, I felt like, okay, I did miss something. Tell me what happened. And it was like, okay, what you guys agreed, what you guys discussed and stuff like that. So I do believe that the same would be for people who are not only MVPs, but they are just curious about what has been discussed behind those closed doors, right? And this kind of ideation vibes that are then interesting for someone else. So that might be the benefit of having it close to Codegarden or prior to Codegarden, because that raises already a lot of potential conversations or topics that might be already seen as interesting already. So that's definitely something what I missed from my point of view. But I also wanted to highlight the Defer den and place where generally there was a tech ideas and the stuff where I felt like all of the people who want to talk to each other, tech directly, they were just jumping there. And whenever I was walking around this corner, I don't know why I always met someone who I either knew or someone who was just there. So that was a good idea, I think, to have more spaces like that, because previously it was only like demo corner or cloud corners, and now it was like community-driven corner, which was something really good to see.
Even the TP tent worked quite well, and I know it was more there for like as a demo space, place people could show stuff off. I went in there at one point, and Hjalta and Alexander were doing a demo to a completely empty room, which, to their credit, like show must go on. They still did the demo, still did the thing, and it was just a really engaging place in the venue where you could have conversations about product, where you could see demos, you could talk with the partner team. They had a popcorn machine, which was great. So, all of those things considered, I liked that as well. I think there was a lot of different aspects, different corners this year where it always felt like something was happening, and you could find the place that you felt comfortable, which I enjoyed a lot. I didn't go on the boat, but it looked a bit sketchy. Did anyone else?
I went on a boat. The boat was fun.
You survived.
Yeah, we had boat music. Every song was boat themed. What more could you want?
We heard boats a couple of times. That's for sure. But we haven't went for the board.
I was actually on my way to another talk at the Unicorn stage, and I got intercepted by people queuing for the boat, and somehow ended up on the boat. So I've got a talk to catch up on now.
Is it too early to be spreading CG rumors for next year? Because I'm going to start one. The CG rumor is the reason it's moving back to Copenhagen next year is because the stickers are falling off the bridges and they need a top up.
Yeah, what? Sorry, I missed that one.
Might be my internet. Copenhagen sticker bridge stickers are running out, and they need a top up, hence it's got to move back.
All right. Yeah.
I was thinking that you will mention bigger boats, but that might be another rumor then, that they have bigger boats. So we'll see. We'll find out. But it might be interesting. I started my whole Codegarden journey from Odense, and my first Codegarden was just the first one there as well. So it's like it might be interesting to see how different it will be in other locations. I know I heard a lot from people who were there. And Matt, have you been in one of the Copenhagen's Codegarden?
Yeah, been to quite a few in Copenhagen, so it's definitely a different vibe. So we'll see how it kind of works. I think the good thing in Odense is that everything's close together and you're always hanging around. So not quite so in Copenhagen, but then in Copenhagen there's just so much more you can do, and like more like opportunities to go do things together as well. So I think it'll be a good thing. It's definitely easier to get to. Like, I think that train puts everybody under stress.
Train's independent.
So just being easily accessible, I think, will be a big difference. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's a boost in numbers as well next year with it being just a little bit easier to get to. So
Having done events in the venue where Codegarden will be hosted next year, I can say it's a good space. It's got a very similar feel to Doc 5000, and everything is still kind of on your doorstep. So yes, it's a bigger city and there's a lot more going on, and that adds stress in other aspects. But right next to the train station, close to a load of hotels, really nice big space. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. But now a lot of HQ team members will be in the need of going to Copenhagen, and it will not like be, oh, it's close to wherever, right? And the office as well and stuff like that. So that's another side of the logistics. But yeah, a lot of people are already looking forward to it. So we'll see. And it's second week of June 2026, right? That's what has been said already. Cool. Let's then quickly maybe wrap up any kind of news that we might have missed from the June's activity outside of Codegarden. And to keep tradition ongoing, let's talk about security advisories first, because every month brings some of these to us now as a tradition, and in this month we have even 2. So that's awesome. So on 3rd of June there was the first one with the patches for Umbraco 15 until 15.4.1 and some other fixes for 15 as well. But then at the end of the month there was some update for Umbraco 10 and 13. So and of course, again, not all of the end of life versions are put aside, but in this case, I don't know, was it some kind of decision to be made that the report of vulnerability is within its support period? So that was then affected still with the patch. So that's also interesting to see how it can be approached. So yeah, patch your websites if you feel like you are affected. If you haven't patched yet, or if you're on cloud, just click this button.
So it's already been patched if you're on cloud.
Already has been patched, yes, that's true. So that's the security advisories. There was also a script release on the beginning of the month with the article from Jeanne about how to set up a Hangfire package with some additional configuration and the walkthrough about the content aspects from Ian. So that's a really nice issue, and everyone take a read and grab the Codegarden, not Codegarden, the script release and follow along too. What else I wanted to highlight? I don't know. I keep missing them, but I do see them somewhere around the vibes. And also, Matt, in your newsletter, there's always a mention about those videos, but I do not have information from YouTube itself. But there's 3 more since the last one that I watched. DevRel deep dives into packages and content log, Codegarden, community collaborations, and the UMB publisher are the topics discussed by the DevRel deep dive team. So keep an eye on the Umbraco community channel, and this is where also some of the talks will be released, if I'm correct.
The Codegarden talks will go on the main Umbraco channel, but this is just for DevRel activities and other stuff. I didn't realize this was a weekly series. I'm very impressed that they managed to keep this up so far. We'll see if there's been a gap with Codegarden, if they've recorded a bunch of them for us. But it's looking good.
Looking good. We talked about Umbraco 16 and breaking changes. I wanted to just walk through some releases, starting from TinyMCE. So for everyone who missed TinyMCE already, after being replaced with TipTap in the core, the ProWorks team shared how to bring it back to life. So they released a TinyMCE as a package. It just gives the opportunity to use any or any of those 2 at least editors of choice with the Umbraco 16 version and beyond. So that's a good stuff. And 2 more packages that caught my attention, at least. One of them is around AI. The Grow Create team released AI Toolkit. I haven't played with it yet, but I did appreciate a lot of efforts put into documentation and information about this package, because it shows and says a lot about it. And again, it looks like a nicely bundled AI utilization of possibilities within the CMS. So might be an interesting to generally check out.
There was an interesting conversation about AI in the CMS at the MVP Summit, and also, of course, some excellent talks at Codegarden. But I think the conclusion that we came to is everyone is trying to kind of do the same things in slightly different flavors of it, and this looks interesting. Another very cool application of stuff, but like, you know, generating SEO metadata for pages, that sort of thing is an interesting angle, and I'm still a little undecided about which side of the fence I sit on there. It's an interesting one. I would love to see Umbraco sort of embrace some of these things and maybe make a consistent UI or some extension points in the CMS for servicing these experiences in a nice way. But yeah, I find this approach still quite interesting. That said, this week I saw Adam Shawcross on LinkedIn show how he's been using the MCP server that Phil and Matt have created to run a report or create a report of, I think it was all the SEO data on a whole site. And he asked Claude, hey, get me all the content for this site, to do an SEO audit on the metadata and compile it all into a nice report that explains, you know, areas we should be focusing on improving. And it just did it like that. And I still think that's a much more relevant, more interesting use case of this of AI in Umbraco. So it being less pull based, as in I'm gonna pull content out of it, and more I'm gonna give it context and let it give me insight. We'll see where the products go ultimately in Umbraco, but yeah.
But that's also some of the discussions that I had with people at Codegarden, that, you know, we see it from different angles. We, especially as for example, from development team's perspective, we see it as a boost of our coding possibilities or shortcuts to achieve some more or validated output of our understanding of how solutions should be presented. But from the business perspective, as you've mentioned, someone can just translate whatever is a code behind the scenes into something what is not even considered as something what requires code to deliver. Just a simple request of give me the information about this, translated through some of the language models and processing of the input data. That's something what excites me the most, because it's a bridge in between of what is done or might be done with code or software, and then humans still, because they need those reports for other machines to be imported, probably. But yeah, that's interesting. And again, seeing this kind of tools is amazing. And of course, kudos again to the MCP work done by the guys there. That was also an eye opener for a lot of opportunities and ideas for many people. I heard a lot about it outside of the talk as well. So yeah, AI toolkit. And last but not least, from packages was from Moriam, and was request protect. So yet another way of protecting access to Umbraco, something like sitelock idea from back in the days, or various other things like that, but also purely configuration driven. So that's the packages. 3 more items on my agenda. One, Matt, you've shared the Blue Sky labeler for everyone who wants to grab some labels on Blue Sky. So HQ labels or MVP labels. I haven't read the instruction yet. I fell out of social medias completely, Blue Sky included recently. But
it was scarily easy for me to set up back in the day. I was one of the first or second people that added it, and Matt accepted quickly, and then like almost instantly a label appears. It's truly interesting. And I had people asking me, where did you get that label from? So it could be for everything. Maybe we need umbraCoffee one, Marcin.
Oh, that's label everything. We can do that. But yeah, that looks amazing. And again, it looks quite nice on the profile to have something like this for recognition, for generally, same as forum badges at some point, right? It's like, okay, you know who this person is, who achievements or what is behind particular profile. So that's really nice. The next one is the Codegarden information, because we just before we discussed we went live. We really realized that there is a deadline somewhere in the next month. Is that where's the deadline? 10th of July, right? so not that far away in time to apply for. As some of you already mentioned, similar vibes, unconference type of things, discussions, inspirations, and everything what already we covered multiple times from the Code Cabin event perspective. So yeah, make Lucy's and all their team members' life worse to select participants for this year's edition and submit. And if you still miss energy, or you want to get your energy boosted again from the other community members, check out the Umbraco meetups ahead of you. And there's umbraCoffee on July 3rd already. There's also Bristol Codegarden recaps, a lot of Codegarden debriefs and recaps. So I think it's usually it was also an amazing opportunity for all of those who were not able to attend in person to just go there and speak to people to grab some of the information that maybe can or can't be shared easily, or they're not coming from straight ahead. Whew, and that's all what we wanted to discuss today. Is there anything else that we missed? Yes, for sure. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. What are your plans event-wise? Are you still recharging your energy for a little while, or as you catch up on sleep?
A little bit. I'm going to be actually doing the talk I did at Codegarden at Bristol. So if anybody didn't see it, and you want to be in Bristol, yeah, I'll be there doing that with Steph, who I did it with this year. Yeah, that's about it at the moment.
And Matt, you are trying to build your kind of small group of community already. So for another opportunities to talk and discuss, right? Or do you have any other plans as well ahead of you?
Well, there's that, and then the only other thing on my schedule is starting to prep for Code Cabin, so that'll be up on us soon. So it's getting merch ready and setting plans, Yeah.
Amazing. Keep us informed as well about anything that you might be sharing. And once again, thank you for joining us today and sharing your stories, your thoughts, and everything which we've shared with us so far. And yeah, we'll catch up on umbraCoffee next month to highlight yet another set of interesting information. So keep us informed and easy as well. And yeah, have a lovely rest of the day and the weekend ahead of you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.